This is the car that changed America, the Model A Ford. Of course, this 1929 chopped and cherried beauty is a long way from the ones Henry Ford built. With a 350 engine and over 400 louvers, this is a very special kind of car, a lot like our show. Hi, everybody, I'm Dallas Raines, and this is the exciting world of speed and beauty.
On today's show, we'll visit a treasure house of racing lore at the Indy 500 Museum. And the wide-open freestyle racing of Can-Am cars is revisited at the Vintage Races. Plus, Smokey Yunick, a name synonymous with high performance for nearly 40 years.
Today, we're here at the Orange Empire Museum, home of some very unique and historic old trains. There are a lot of museums around the country, but perhaps one of the most famous and dedicated to preserving our strong racing heritage is the Indy 500 Museum.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
They're the most famous words in racing, bringing to mind the legends of the sport, and the greatest legend of all, the Indianapolis 500.
And here they come down the straightaway, gaining
a legend encapsulated in a Hall of Fame on the most revered 2.5 miles of pavement in the world, the famed Brickyard.
I've been to a lot of sporting events, and the start of our event, the start of the Indianapolis 500, is second to none in terms of the thrill and the excitement of actually being there for the spectator. So if our museum can give people just a small inclination of what that's like, then we're accomplishing something.
Kent Lithick is responsible for overseeing its operations. In a sense, the Hall of Fame is the Brickyard's biographer, telling a story that stretches back to the early part of this century. Carl Fisher, who bought 350 acres outside Indianapolis to build a racetrack which would afford automobile builders the opportunity to test and improve the design of American-built cars. A legacy it carries on today.
In the early 1900s, the car that raced on the racetrack was literally the car you bought off the showroom floor.
The first Indy 500 winner in 1911 was this Marmon Wasp, built in downtown Indianapolis.
It was one of the first cars, and I can't really document that it was the first, but definitely one of the first cars to use what we now call the rearview mirror, which you can see here, and that's how Ray Haroon, the driver of this car, was able to get away without having a riding mechanic.
European car makers were quick to see the opportunity the race presented, and for many years, Italian Fiats and French Stellages were serious challengers to the American-made cars. In 1927, the track was sold to World War I flying ace Eddie Rickenbacker. He carried on the legacy of encouraging innovative designs, like this 1932 winner, a Miller Hart Special with front-wheel drive. By the time Wilbur Shaw rode to his third Indy win in 1937 in this supercharged Maserati, the race was firmly established as the preeminent international event. World War II brought that to a screeching halt.
When Mr. Holman bought the Speedway in '46, the biggest obstacle in front of him was to bring the track up to a condition where we could compete safely on the racetrack, and that's what he's done, and of course his family has carried through that tradition to today.
With Holman, the Speedway rose to new heights.
It's the largest single-day sporting event in the world, bar none. When a driver comes down the straightaway here, he sees literally masses of humanity, hundreds of thousands of people.
In the modern era, the names of those who have conquered Indy reads like a who's who of the sport.
And here's the checkered flag for Mario Andretti.
For Al Unser, winner.
For Rick Mears of Bakersfield, California.
For Johnny Rutherford, winner.
But none are more imposing than that of A.J. Foyt.
The checkered flag is out. A.J.'s hand in the air. He is the winner. A.J.
He's obviously probably the greatest American race car driver ever. And we felt it was very, very appropriate to have a display honoring him. We do have all 4 of the cars that he won with here, which would be his 1961, 1964, 1967, and of course his 1977 car.
Among the other displays at the museum are a collection of priceless Grand Prix cars, including the most famous race car of all time, the stunningly beautiful Mercedes W196.
The most enjoyable tasks I have is bringing somebody into the museum that's never been here before. They always expect to see some Indianapolis race cars, but are totally amazed to see a Mercedes W196, which somebody like Sterling Moss drove in the 1950s, or to see a 250 LM Ferrari, which won Le Mans in 1965, or cars like that, or cars that are of that kind of significance.
The exhibit is constantly being upgraded. A recent addition is this 1990 Domino's Indy winner driven by R.E. Lyondike.
Prior to that car, we had not had a car that had won the 500 donated to the museum since 1983. So that was a very, I would have to say, the most significant donation we've received in several years.
In the Tony Hulman Theater, there's a continual running of the history of the Indy 500. The story it tells is about a legacy of automotive inventiveness and excellence, which is why cars like this rear-engine Lotus-powered Ford, the first rear-engine car to win Indy, and this collection of power plants carry a significance that goes far beyond that of racing.
We're really here strictly to educate the public about the history of our race and how it relates to the progress of the automotive industry.
Like the race, the Hall of Fame's popularity outstrips all others. Inside this national landmark is not only some of the priceless artifacts of racing, but a living document of man's relationship to his most beloved machine. Although the stands are now silent, come May, they will be filled with hundreds of thousands of spectators waiting to hear those 4 magic words.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
Next, the thunder of the Can-Am cars is back at the vintage races, and a look at a legend in the world of motorsports, Smokey Yunick.
In my 23 years of professional racing, I've learned how to get the best performance from a car's engine. Hi, I'm Neil Bonnet. In our professional race cars, we don't need to use Restore because those engines are continuously being rebuilt. But I do use Restore in my family cars. Restore is made for older cars with high mileage. Restore's patented formula fills in scratches, boosts compression, reduces oil burning, and restores power. Putting your life back into your car with Restore, it works.
I was sure this year's father-son picnic was on Saturday, but they said no, it was definitely on Sunday. And you know, they never listen to me.
Here's to wise men, wiser women, and comfortable blue jeans. Wrangler.
A company can learn a lot in 125 years. Valvoline has. You learn in the lab, you learn on the road, you learn on the racetrack. As you learn, you make your product better, and better, and better. Today's Valvoline will keep your engine cleaner than ever before, and cleaner means more protection against engine wear. 125 years of quality. That's why people who know use Valvoline.
Shower yourself with a new sensation, new refreshing Shield. Feel the blast. The high-energy beat of Shield's unique skin-vigorating formula. Refreshment that'll turn you around. New refreshing Shield.
The race is on. All important seconds tick by when pit crews for the most famous names in NASCAR racing go against the clock and each other. The World Championship Pit Crew Race, Sunday, 2:30, 1:30 Central on TNN.
They say you had to be there to understand it. This is a vintage Can-Am racer, a survivor of the glory days of all-American wide-open racing. For those who can remember the awesome sound of a full grid of these machines thundering toward the green flag, say it's the single most exciting moment in racing. Well, now, the thrill is back.
They've got names like Cobra, Lotus, and Stingray. And not that long ago, these speed machines ruled the sports car tracks around the world. But the changes in racing technology have been so dramatic that today these cars are considered vintage. But vintage doesn't mean forgotten, especially not to the drivers roaring through the twists and turns here at Willow Springs.
I think they bring back those wonderful memories. They do to me.
For nearly 15 years, the vintage racing circuit has been attracting drivers of all kinds. Those familiar with speed like Vic Edelbrock in his Stingray, and weekend warriors like Bruce Kawaguchi in his 1965 Shelby GT350.
You get a chance to actually race machinery that you could only just watch and read about in magazines when you were a teenager.
And getting special attention on the circuit this year are the Can-Am cars that attacked the track back in the 1960s.
I think it was the highlight of sports car racing of all time.
And these were the fastest race cars that were ever built.
Exploded onto the racing scene 25 years ago, earning the Can-Am name on racetracks in Canada and America. Folks who were there say those were the real days of thunder. The cars were noisy and they were fast, with the power of a big block Chevy engine on a featherweight aerodynamic chassis.
750 horsepower and 1,600-pound cars. Awesome, to say the least. The power comes on so smoothly, but it's so fast, and it's just like you're taking off in a jet.
And in the pilot's seat were the bravest and boldest drivers in the sport. Bruce McLaren, Dan Gurney, John Surtees. Phil Hill said they were better than anything he'd ever driven. Mario Andretti called the Can-Am cars total freedom with a turbocharged engine. The men driving them today wouldn't disagree.
There's nothing like this 700 and some horsepower and back, inch away from your back, and that vibration coming through you. It's just unbelievable.
It's just got so much power. It's just a wild feeling. You never can drive it as fast as the car will go.
What keeps the Can-Am cars exciting today and what made them revolutionary 25 years ago is the anything goes philosophy behind them.
There were great rules about Can-Am racing. It had to have 2 seats and 2 doors, and that was about the end of the rules.
They were unlimited. The rule book was 1 paragraph.
You could do anything you wanted to make the cars go fast.
They started out with Chevy 327s, and they just kept growing.
Has a 500 cubic inch aluminum Chevrolet type motor, which dynos out at about 760 horsepower at this point.
It's a fuel-injected engine. It red lines at around 7,000 RPM. Produces a little over 700 horsepower.
About 750 horsepower. Does about 180, 200 miles an hour if you can hang on to it.
Ironically, the freedom to go fast that created the Can-Am class would also be its demise.
Porsche came in with 1,100 horsepower cars and absolutely dominated it and just kind of took it away from the American V8s, and the interest fell and people went other series, and it became a single-seater series, and it lost its attraction, I think, at that point.
But they've never lost their attraction to these guys. In some cases, they spent 2 years restoring their cars to the look of their glory days. Today, these machines are worth more than $500,000. This one was once sponsored by the rock band Led Zeppelin.
It was painted orange when I got it. Most McLarens are painted orange, and but I had the original photographs of the car when it was racing, and I just decided to put it back the way it was because it's a little bit different. Now it's not so striking, but in 1974 it was out of sight.
It's strange to think that cars considered out of sight just a short time ago are considered vintage today. But to the men who drive them, they're not getting older, they're getting better. And they're making dreams from long ago come true.
I sit behind that wheel and I feel the same sensations that all of the professional drivers did.
It's just a blast. I've had more fun doing this than anything in my whole life.
It's the world of speed and beauty.
Coming up, the master of high-performance engine building, Smokey Yunick.
Okay, so you have a headache this big, and you try to swallow a capsule that feels this big. I don't care what they coat it with, it feels like it sticks right here. Have I got a solution for you? Stand Back AF, the only extra-strength, aspirin-free pain reliever for adults in a powder form. So it's fast and it's gentle on your stomach. Now that's pain relief that's easy to swallow.
Easy to swallow and aspirin-free. Extra strength Stand Back AF in the new white box.
Mom, will my new little brother like orange juice?
Well, you like it a lot. I think he will too.
There's nothing like 100% pure Florida quality orange juice with the vitamins, minerals, and taste that make you feel so good.
What if your new little brother is a girl?
I think she'll like orange juice too.
Well, how do you know?
Because you like it and you're a girl.
100% pure Florida quality orange juice. It makes you feel so good.
AT&T is always looking for new ways to bring families closer together. That's why we've joined with Disney and Delta Airlines to create something really special. The AT&T Family Reunion Sweepstakes. To celebrate the year-long 20th anniversary of Walt Disney World, we'll be giving away 100,000 prizes. You could win one of 20 magical family reunions, or round-trip tickets anywhere Delta flies in the U.S., or free AT&T long-distance calls. To enter, dial 1-800-641-2000. The call is free, but the memories are priceless. Only for you, only from us. Call now.
The world's best pistol shooters compete in the 1991 Bianchi Cup. Today at noon, 11 a.m. Central on the Nashville Network.
Of the many colorful characters that have stamped their mark on the history of racing, the name Smokey Yunick will be remembered long after others have disappeared with the sands of time. For Smokey is that rare, one-of-a-kind individual whose accomplishments bridge the racetrack, the shop, and the imagination. He is a racer, an inventor, a hellraiser, an entrepreneur, and an automotive genius.
I give back about as much as I got, I hope. I hope I gave back a little bit more. And what other people think about me, I really don't give a damn.
Smokey was born with a love of machines, backed by a willingness to learn and persevere. He's raced motorcycles. He was an accomplished pilot, but it is race cars that he will be remembered best for. It started with stock car racing on shoestring budgets in the Southeast, at events like the Daytona Beach Race.
Beach Race was the beginning of the Daytona 500. We won the last race they had down there. Had that race gone another 10 laps, it would have been impossible. The cars finally got enough power, so we tore the beach all to hell, and some of the race cars were actually getting stuck.
Money was always scarce in those days, which was a blessing in disguise. For necessity being the mother of invention, Smokey had to be his own mechanic, and a very gifted one at that.
Got $200 to build an engine. It took 200 hours, so figured out $1 an hour. Wasn't the kind of a job that a guy's really looking for. But if I was doing it for money, I never would have done it. We was doing it for the hell of it, because I like to race.
When he wasn't racing or chasing mischief, Smokey was thinking about ways to improve his race cars.
Variable ratio power steering's in everybody's automobile. I was the inventor on that. The ceramic-coated, moly-coated piston ring that everybody uses now, that started here. We work with the Pedri Piston Ring Company, the elliptical bearings they use on mains and rods. Matter of fact, that carburetor everybody races today, the Holly, that type that they use in racing was made right here.
Many of these innovations can be found in today's race cars. Some, like the hot vapor engine that he began design on in the late 50s and early 60s, is now getting long overdue recognition.
The last 2 years that Honda won the World Championship in Formula One, they were using a version of the hot vapor engine. They heated the air and the fuel very deliberately, and which is what the hot vapor engine is all about. But it's 180 degrees from standard engineering.
It was this spirit of inventiveness that led Chevrolet to seek him out to race the NASCAR circuit in the early 60s.
Bill France came here and begged me at that time to make a deal with Chevrolet for one race. That's what Cole wanted, the Darlington 500. And as luck would have it, we ended up winning the race. And that was the big break that NASCAR got. And then Ford said, well, hell, we're not going to let Chevrolet take this thing away. So then they jumped in, and pretty soon Chrysler come, and then NASCAR finally got a solid cement foundation, and they went from there.
It was also his big break. For now, Detroit was paying him major dollars to design and race prototypes.
Well, it wasn't uncommon for a motor company to bring a prototype automobile and set it down and say, you do anything you want to it.
Today, his shop is filled with those motors, every one a piece of automotive history.
The engine that Bobby Youngster drove, that's a Bosch 429 Ford Hemi. That's a Hudson Hornet that won Darlington in 1954. That was a 1955 Chevrolet that won Darlington in 55, and that was the beginning of Chevy's foray into racing.
Of all the experiences that Smokey's had, there is one that is particularly special.
Indianapolis is the part I enjoyed most about racing. When I first started running Indianapolis, if I could afford to get a car together and had to pull it up there with a rope and run for nothing, I'd have done it. I really enjoyed that.
Indianapolis has not ignored his contribution. He has been inducted into their Hall of Fame, and they have one of his cars in their collection, the famous capsule car.
Everything about that car I made with my own hands. I like that.
At times, Smokey's direct manner has led to uncomfortable situations, but he doesn't apologize. What you see is what you get. Someone who believes in his abilities and has backed it up with a lifetime of achievements.
I wanted to be, so when I left, somebody'd say, was he a racer? All I wanted was to say yes.
Stay tuned for more of the exciting world of Speed and Beauty.
I used to have dandruff, so I tried Head & Shoulders. Then I tried Selsun Blue. Blue is better.
Selsun Blue relieves dandruff flaking better than Head & Shoulders, and doctors recommend it more than Head & Shoulders, Denerex, and Tegrin.
Blue is better.
Selsun Blue.
Shower yourself with a new sensation, new refreshing Shield. Feel the blast. The high-energy beat of Shield's unique skin-vigorating formula. Refreshment that'll turn you around. New refreshing Shield.
Only Only one wiper blade has the aerodynamic shape that gives you perfect rain sweeping pressure even at performance speeds. Aerofoil, the leading edge in wiper technology.
It's gonna be one happy Christmas.
Time Life Music presents Country Christmas, a new collection of 50 holiday songs by the greatest country artists of all time.
Christmas in Dixie. Silent night.
Jingle bells, jingle bells.
Hard candy Christmas.
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. I'll be home.
Country Christmas from Time Life Music. 3 LPs or 2 double-length cassettes, only $19.99. Or 2 compact discs for $26.99. Order now.
To order, credit card customers call 1-800-257-0800 or send just $19.99 for 3 albums or 2 double-length cassettes or $26.99 for 2 compact discs, plus $4 shipping and handling to Country Christmas, P.O. Box 10030, Stamford, Connecticut.
Coming up on TNN Motorsports Magazine, live at 11:30 a.m. Eastern on Sunday, we'll preview the final Busch Grand National race, and we'll check in on the final NHRA Nationals event in California. Plus, Trans Am champion Scott Sharp joins us in the studio.
TNN Motorsports Magazine, first edition, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, Sports Sunday on TNN.
You know, there are 2 types of drivers in the world. The guys who get the new cars because they're faster. Then there are the guys who love the classics. That's the kind of guy you'll see driving a Can-Am vintage racer or making a pilgrimage to the Indy 500 museum. But the past and the present are just preludes to the future. You want to see what's coming up in the future? Exactly 1 week from today.
The $1 million transformer they called Borean. And Herschel McGriff. After 4 decades, he's still racing the banked ovals. Plus, the 3-wheeled competition of sidecar racing.
For the exciting world of speed and beauty, I'm Dallas Raines. See you next week.
Motorhomes provided by Altman's, the world's largest Winnebago dealer. If you're looking to rent or buy, Altman's has one of the largest selections to choose from, with 5 convenient locations in Southern California. Altman's, the sign of quality and service.
On Inside Winston Cup Racing, you'll see action from the annual Unocal Rockingham Pit Crew Championship, and we'll also have highlights of the AC Delco 500. Be sure to join us.
Inside Winston Cup Racing, Sports Sundays at 11 a.m., 5 and 9 p.m., and again at 12:30 a.m. Eastern on TNN.